everyone, I am Nived. So in this video, we are going to do a tutorial using RE framework using UI demo application. And UI demo application is actually a application provided by the UiPath for practicing some automation works. And mostly when you are learning RPA Developer Foundation, you will come across this app for practicing some automation works on it. So let's see it. So this is a UI demo application app. At first, you have to log in it into the app using certain credentials provided by them. Just type it. And log it here. So this is the UI demo application, and in this UI demo application, what we are going to do today is to input the values of cash in on US check and not on US check from an Excel file, and this is the Excel file, and you can see that they have provided the value of cash in on US check and not on US check, and our main agenda is we want to input these values into this cash in on US check and not on US check, and then we have to click accept. For sample, I will show you a demonstration. Taking the first row of value, that is this row of value, you want to input into this UI demo application. Just input it here 911. Second is on US check is 231. Not on US check is let's say 10. Then press on accept. And same procedure has to be repeated for all the other rows. And in addition to these three columns, I have added a transaction status column also, which actually indicate whether each here, because in this tutorial we are using data table method in the RE framework. So we have to know whether, since we are inputting these values into this UI demo application, we don't know whether this transaction has to know whether the transaction has successfully occurred or not. We can use transaction status. It will either give success or failure. Okay, that we will see when we come to the automation. So let's start with automation work. Just open the UI Path Studio, then click on Robotic Enterprise Framework. Just create a application. Let's say UI demo. I give a interesting name. Yeah. So open the workflow. So here we know that we are actually doing using data table method. So at first what we have to do here is we have to change the transaction item variable type. You know that because if you just take the Excel file, our transaction item is actually each data row. You can see here each data row is actually our transaction item. Okay, so at first we have to change the variable type of the transaction item. So since it is a queue item, you have to change it to data row. So just data row, you have to select the data row here from system.data, click on it. Okay, so it is changed. So you can see that some error or some validation errors have been shown here. So correct it. Okay. Actually, it is a normal procedure that we have to do when we are actually doing RE framework in the data table method. Okay, so transaction item, uh, nothing. Okay, now here the error is that we know that it is a queue item, so we have to change it also. So just open the workflow and change the out transactional variable argument type to data row. Click on it, and we know that here there is a get transaction activity. We know that it is not a queue item, so we can disable it. Just right click and click on disable activity. It is disabled. Okay, and just save it. Okay, close the workflow. Now also there is a validation error here. So we know that we have to type the transaction item here. Okay, we say now still an error is there. Just go here. Okay, transaction item is, let's say, nothing. Okay, now all the error in the get transactions section is clarified. Now just go to process transaction. Here also we can see the argument type of transaction item is queue item, change into data row. Okay, now save this, close it. Now check the import argument whether transaction, have to add transaction item. Okay, click on OK. Still there's an error, so that is at the get transaction section. Open the workflow, click on argument. You can see the transaction item is a queue item, so just change it to data row. Okay, so now you can see the validation error here. So just here we know that it is a part of queue because it is used when the transaction item is a queue item. So since transaction item is not a queue item, we can disable this section and then save it. Similar procedure we have to do it for other conditions. Here also we have to disable it. Click on save and then go to system exception and disable this activity also. Okay, and here also we have to disable this. Save this. Okay, I think all the validation error has been removed. Now, okay, I think is correct. Save it. I think all the validation error has been removed. Yes. So I think we have removed all the validation error. So next step is, we know that we are doing it using data table method. So we have to set the maximum retry number greater than 0. Okay. So just go to config file. Okay. So here you have to take the constant and change the maximum retry number to 2. Remember, because here we are working with data table. So because when we are working with queue, we are providing the auto retry number there. But since in while working with data table, we should provide this so that it can retry the transaction if there is a case of system exception. Just save this. I just put here 2. And, just save this and close it. And now, so I think we have completed all the initial stages that are required in the RE framework automation. So next step is we have to start to do the workflow. So first section is we have to initialize. So in this case, what we have to initialize is we have to open the UI demo application. We know that to open the UI demo application, we require the login credentials, username and password. So the first step in the initial, the step that we are going to do in the initialization stage is we are actually inputting the login credentials and then click on login and uh, the we are opening the application. Okay, so that is the first part and that is the part that we are going to do in the initialization state. So go to initialization state and just open init all application workflow. And here we have to do is we have to type the login credential and log into the UI demo application. So for obtaining the login credential, you have learned about either you can use asset or you can use Windows Credential Manager. to get the login credentials. Okay, so I or you can type the credentials directly using type into activity, but I am not preferring that. You can use while you are working with credentials, it is recommended that you should either use the credential activity of the asset, or you can use the Windows Credential Manager. Okay, so we know that here I am using the Windows Credential Manager to obtain the login credential. So for that, I have to save this credential data in the UI in the Windows Credential Manager. So just go to Windows Credential Manager, click on Window Credential, and you just click on Add Generic Credential. You can provide a name. Let's say I'm providing UI demo. Provide the username, admin, password. The password and the username details I will provide in the description. You can use that. Click on OK. So you can see that the credential data UI demo is created, and you have to get the data from this UI demo to input into login section of the UI demo. For that, you have to use an activity called get secure credential. I think I hadn't installed the activity get secure. No, it is not there. So you have to install it. So to install the UiPath credential.activity, just go to manage activity packages, click on all packages, search for UiPath credentials, credentials.activities. I think name I have typed wrong. So UiPath dot credentials. Yeah, this is the application, and just install it and save it. Yeah. Now when you search here, you get secure credential. Yeah, this is activity. Using this activity, you can obtain the login credentials of your demo from the credential manager. Okay, so that we can input into the login section of the UI demo. So at first, you first create a sequence. Sorry, first create a sequence here. Just give a name UI demo login, and then after doing that, you just drag the activity get secure credential. Okay, so here what you're doing, you just give a name. Okay, credential data from credential data from let's say UI demo. Okay, so you have to provide the details. So the target, you have to provide the name of the credential. Here we have name general credential UI demo. You have to provide it within the quotation marks. So just provide the name as let's say UI demo, and actually the password and username you can store in a variable format. Okay, to retrieve the password and username you have to store in a variable format. So press Ctrl plus K to create a variable password, and press Ctrl plus K username. Okay, so after okay, so just go, if you go to the variable section, you can see that automatically the variable type required for that activity is created. You can see that the password is a secure string. Username is actually ordinarily a string. So you have obtained the data, that is the credential data. Now you want to input into the login section. So first you want to open the application, create open application activity. Okay, so just drag here, just give it a name. Okay, open UI demo. Okay, now you have to indicate this window. Okay, just indicate on screen. Okay. Just 1 minute. Uh, okay, again, just indicate it again because I think some problems with the. Okay, yeah. Okay, now after indicating this, you can store this data in the config file. Okay, so instead of directly writing this path here, you can store it in the config file. Okay, that will be a better thing, or that's a good practice, because for example if any change occur in the file path, you can directly change here instead of changing here. Okay, so I just leave it here and just transfer this data to config file. Okay, yeah, transfer this data to the config file. Here just give it a name, let's say application. So you give it a name, let's say UI demo path, and the value should be the path of the application. That is just copy. Okay, so this is the path. Now just save it, close it, and you can provide the file name here as in config UI UI demo path. Just elaborate. Since we know that the output from the dictionary is an object, you have to convert to a string. So just use dot to string. Okay. So you have opened the UI demo. Now next step is you want to input the login credentials. So just use a type into activity here. Type into activity and okay. So just indicate the screen. Type. Let's say you give a name. Type username. Okay, and indicate the window. Okay, just type the username. You know the username is username. And but for password you can't use normal type into activity. There you have to use type secure text activity, because it that password is a secure string. So there is a specially made activity for that. That is type secure text. Okay, so indicate the element. Yeah. Now you have to give it a name. Type password. Okay, type password and the secure text that we want to transfer here. In our case, it is password. After transferring the login details, so next step is we want to click the login button. Okay, to proceed. So just press the login button here. So using click activity, press the login. Just click it again. I think some errors will be there. Okay, so give it a name. Click log in. Okay, so this step of initialization stage is okay. You know that, but you know that when we are providing the login credential, admin, password, and we are logging here. We know that we are actually going to another window, and we should provide a condition in the init section that whether to check whether the login is successful or not. Because for example, if you're providing, let's say, incorrect credential, let's say provide username as 123, password also as 123, you know that you will not log in. So there should be a condition that we should provide the condition to check whether the login is successful or not. Why we are providing this, I will tell you in later after doing our automation work. I will tell you why we are doing, because there you can understand why we are actually doing that. And it is a common step that we do when we are using these logins conditions, etc. Okay, so for that, what we have to do here is uh, okay, so now we know that let's open this application again, and then type, let's say, admin password as uh, sorry, password, click on login. So to check whether the login is successful or not, we can use an element exist activity. So we can use UiPath as an element, because UiPath is, this section is only available when the login has successfully done. Okay, so you can use an element exist activity for that. So select element exist activity, element exist, and just give it a name. Let's say login is success. You can give it a name. Okay, so indicate on the screen. So I'm indicating UiPath because this element is only appeared when the login is successful. Okay, and this data of element exist activity you can store in the form of boolean variable. Just give it as a name, login success. Okay, so it is actually a boolean variable. You can check here, which actually check whether this element is actually existing or not. It's a true of boolean variable. So to check whether the login is successful or not, we can use if condition. Just take the if condition, give it a name. If login is success or not. Okay. So the condition is, you know that our element exists is login success. Login success. This indicates if login success is true. Okay. If login success is true, then what we have to do? We can just give a log message to indicate that our login is successful. Provide a log, use log message activity, drag it here. Just give information that login is successful. Okay, give it a name, login is success. Okay, now if the login is not success, for example, if you are providing incorrect credential, the login will not be success. So what you have to provide here is you can throw an exception, that is that state that it is due to incorrect credential, we are not able to log into a system. And why we are providing this exception is that I tell you later after completing the automation, because that time you can understand when you complete the work fully, you're able to understand what is its use, etc. Okay, so go to, let's say, just use a log message again here. You can just use a log message here, and you can just show an error. This login is not not done. Okay, and you can give a name. Let's say login failed. Okay, and in addition to providing a log message, you can throw an exception. For that, you can use throw activity to throw the exception. Okay, so throw exception, and we know that incorrect credential means it is actually a business exception because we are providing incorrect data, so it's a business exception. So we can state what is kind of exception here by specifying new business rule exception. Condition you can provide here incorrect, or what is the reason you can provide here incorrect credentials. Okay, okay. So you can provide here login not success. Okay, so you have understood that if login is not success, we have to provide a or we have to throw an exception. So what's the advantage of this throwing this exception is I will tell you later when we complete the workflow, so that you can have a better understanding at that time. So we have completed the init-all application. So what we have done in init-all application is we are opening the application. We are opening the application, and then we are providing the login credential, a login, and we are checking whether the login is successful or not. So that is what we have done in the initialization stage. I think you understood. So next stage is get transaction data stage. You have to provide a transaction item to the process it, or to the process transaction state. So we know that here we are using data table method, and the data table we are considering each row as the transaction item. Yes, each row is considered as a transaction item. So we have to provide the condition so as to process to obtain the transaction item for it. So just click here and go to open the workflow, and then you can just go. You have to provide two sequences. Say provide a sequence here. Okay, first we are reading Excel file here. Okay, so what is the condition? We know that at first, to obtain the transaction data, we have to read this Excel file and convert to a data table. Okay, then only after that we can assign the transaction data, or sorry, transaction item. So for that, actually what I'm doing here is I am okay, sorry. So condition is, you know that first this condition is to read the Excel file, because when we are processing the transaction for first time, we have to read the Excel file. Okay, so condition is in transaction number dot to string dot equals, let's say 1. If it is a first transaction, what we have to do, we have to read the data or read the Excel file. So for that we can use read range activity. Okay, and then we can specify the workflow path. For specifying the workflow path, what I am suggesting is that you try to save your data file, that is transaction file, within this workflow itself, so that it can be easier to get. So that I can just copy paste my data there. Okay, take this and copy here, and just cut and paste here and paste here. Okay, yeah, paste here. So now go to config, and here what we are doing here is that we are saving uh, the file path of the Excel file. So you can say here Excel file, and just save the file name here. Okay, what's the file name? Sorry, mm, file name is transactions. So just save the name itself here, because since it is within the workflow, we can save the name directly without entering the complete path. So transaction dot xlx. Okay, so I think the name is correct. Transaction dot xlx. Yeah, it's correct. So since we don't have to spend more time on writing the entire path, because since this file is uh, within this workflow folder itself, so there is no need for that. If it is outside the workflow path, so you have to provide the path name completely. Okay, otherwise don't need to provide that. Just save it. Here we are providing Excel file. Okay, so now the workflow name you are saving in the config file, so you have to retrieve it through dictionary in config. Name of the key name is I think name is I forgot. Excel file, excel excel file. It is an object, output is an object, so you have to convert to string. Okay, now the sheet reading, I think just check me that whether the sheet name is sheet 1 or not. Yeah, it is sheet 1 itself. Now we have to change the read range to, because we are reading the entire range. Okay, so provide the name here, read Excel file for first transaction. Okay, now so we have completed the first condition, that is to read the Excel data, and just you have to save the output data table in the variable format. Already this RE framework is provided with a variable input output transaction data. Just click on it. Okay, so the Excel data is actually stored in the variable name input output transaction data. Now we want to assign the transaction item from it. For that I have to create another condition. So just use another sequence here and create another condition. Assign transaction item. Okay, we have to, in this section we have to assign the transaction item. So provide a if condition here again. If condition, if it's just provide if. Condition is, what is the condition? We already provided all the same condition in the tutorial 1.0, I think. So the condition is, our condition is what? I just explain you once more. Our condition is, we know that this is first transaction, second transaction, third transaction, etc. So we know that transaction numbers start with 1, but we know that our row column in data table start with 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. So our condition is, when transaction number is less than the row count of this data table, it can assign the transaction item. Otherwise it will not be able to assign the transaction item. Okay, you can see here, that there are around 107 transaction data here, but when it reaches 108 there is no transaction data, so it can assign it at nothing and it will remark the end of the process. So the condition is, so I think you have understood what the condition we have to provide to assign the transaction data. In transaction number should be less than or equal to input output transaction data dot rows dot, let's say, count. This should be the condition, and what you have to assign here is, if this condition is true, means if the transaction number is less than the row count of the transaction data, or transaction of or row count of the data table, that is transaction data, you have to assign the transaction item. Okay, if this condition is true, you have to assign the transaction item as out transaction item is equal to input output transaction data. So here we have to provide input output transaction data dot rows. Just elaborate here, I think. Dot in transaction number, I think in transaction number -1. Okay, this is a condition, that is we are assigning the transaction data here, assigning transaction item, not transaction data. We are assigning the transaction data here. Okay, means if the transaction number is less than the row count of the transaction data, we can assign the transaction item. Okay, the transaction item is assigned. What is the transaction item? The transaction item is each row of the data table we are assigning. That is actually we have done here. Okay, if this condition is false, means if transaction number is greater than this data row count, we can say that there is no transaction item, so you can assign it as nothing itself. So just assign nothing. Okay, so we can just assign out transaction item equal to nothing. Okay, now it's okay. We have assigned nothing here. So I think you have understood what we have done here. So just summarizing, so in the get transaction state, what we have done, we have read that data table, we have read the Excel file, transfer the values into a data table, and then we are assigning the transaction data. That is, transaction data actually here is each row of the Excel file, you can say. It is actually each row. That is actually the transaction data we are assigning here, or transaction item we are assigning here. Okay, so that we have done. So we have done initialization and get transaction. So next we have to go to the real process where the automation is actually happening, that is process transaction. So in process transaction, so using this transaction data, what we have to do, just open this UI demo application for demonstration. Okay, so your main aim is you want to take the transaction data and you want to input the values into the corresponding field. That is, if you take this transaction data or this Excel file here, you can see that there are three columns. You can see there are three columns: cash in, on US check, not on US check. You know that these are each transaction data, and your main aim is you want to input, because since we know that each data row consists of the values of all these three fields that we want to input. So our main agenda is we want to take the data and we want to input it here, and just we want to accept it. So that is what we have to do, and this is actually what we are going to do in the process state. Okay, so for that I just open the sequence here, and you can give it a name. Let's say inputting data into UI demo. Okay, so now what you have to input the data to UI demo. For that you can use use type into activity. I think you have to use, so first you have to type cache in. I think the first column you have to type is, I think, cash in. You have to type into cash in. Okay, so just for that you have to indicate it on the screen, cash in. So we know that, so inputting the value, you know that this is each transaction item. Okay, so we know that these are each transaction item. So to retrieve the value of cash in from the transaction, since it's a data row, you can retrieve the value of cash in on US check and not on US check from the transaction item itself. Okay, so we can use in transaction item. Either you can use the directly the name, or you can use the column index. That is, we know that similarly we know the rows start from 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. Column starts from 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so cash in is a 0th column index 1, and on US check is the first, and not on US check is the second, and transaction status is third. Okay, so we have to input all these three fields only to this UI demo application. So this is the 0th column index. So what you have to do, you have to just give the value transaction item dot 0 dot to string. Okay, so that we have to do. Similarly, do it for other two field also. Okay, so on US check, you know that just go in transaction item. It is in its column index is, I think, 1. On US check column index is 1. So in transaction item 1 dot to string. Okay, so now just give a name itself, type on US checks. Okay, so type on US check, and now again use a type into activity. We want to input another third field, that is not on US check. So for that I think so just open it again. Okay, so now use not on US check, and not on US check. Okay, we have to type into activity. We know that, I think it is in the second column index, 0, 1, 2, second column index. So in transaction item dot to string. Now after inputting all the values, next step is we have to click on accept. Okay, so just use click activity, as you give a name, click accept. Okay, so go here. Okay, so go here and click on accept. Okay, so I think we have completed the process section also. Okay, so next is, I told you that I have added a extra column, transaction status. The use of this is to check whether each transaction has occurred successfully or not. We have seen the transaction status in the case of queues. You know that in queues we have to check whether each transaction has undergone successfully, or it has been failed due to business exception, or it has been failed due to system exception, and so on. Similarly, to check whether my transaction has occurred successfully or not, I can use a transaction item. You will type whether success, fail, the reason. Okay, so for entering that details, you can just go to the get transaction status section in the process state itself. Okay, so just go here Open the workflow and go to success. First we have to go to success. So here you want to input the data. So just go to use an activity called write cell activity. Okay, write success. Just give the path. The path we already have specified in the config file. I think the name is Excel file. Okay, so in config Excel file dot to string sheet 1. Yeah, I think its name is sheet 1 itself. Okay, now we want to here actually write cell means it is an activity which is used to write into each cell. Okay, this is actually a cell, in Excel. So to write into each cell we are using the write cell activity, and this A1 indicates a cell. It is a default. It is actually set in default. Actually here it indicates that A1 is a cell that we are going to write, but we know that we want to write in the all the cell, all this cell at even each transaction actually occur. When the when the first transaction occur, we have to write in D2. When the second transaction occur, we want to write in D3. Okay, so it has to be occur like that. So for writing that, what we have to do here is we have to specify the cell that we want to write. So in general term, we have to specify it. So how we can specify it, it is in which column? It is in D column. Okay, and for first transaction it should be D2. For third transaction, sorry, for first transaction it should be D2. Cell should be D2, and for second transaction it should be D3. For third transaction it should be D4. Okay, so the cell should be D 1 plus transaction number. In general we have to write that. So you can write here D plus in transaction, yeah, input output transaction number plus 1. Why I told you that? Because our transaction, when our transaction number is 1, if you provide let's say D1, it will write in here. But we know that when transaction is first, we want to write in cell D2. So we are providing in, so if transaction number is 1, you can see here that it should write into D2. If transaction number is 2, it write into D3. That is what actually we want. Okay, since it is actually a string, so just take this whole value and write into dot to string. Okay, what is the cell content we have to write? We have to write successful. Okay, that is what we have to write. I think you have understood this section. If you didn't understood, you can just comment in the comment box. I will reach out to that. And similarly, you have to do it for business exception also. Okay, business exception also we have to do the same thing that we have done here. Okay, so here the workflow path is, I think, in config Excel file dot to string sheet 1, and name the same thing that we have done in the success section also. So the cell value should be D plus input output transaction number plus 1. Since it is an integer format, we have to convert to string. So we are using dot to string. Okay, and you have to specify the cell content. To specify failed, you have to just provide the reason here, business exception. Okay, just provide the reason it is failed due to business exception. Business exception. Okay, now click on save. Similarly, we have to do it for system exception also. Specify here also in config excel file dot to string. So you have to specify the same thing here too. D plus input output transaction number plus 1 dot to string. Okay, so now we will provide failed system exception. We are providing the reason why it is actually got failed. Give the name system exception. Okay, so let's check whether we have done everything correct or not, or just check it whether I have done it correct. Put output transaction number 1 plus string. Business exception, failed business exception. I think around 107 data are there, and it may take some time itself for completing the automation comparing to that what we have done in the first and second tutorials. It may take some more time because around 107 data are actually there. So I think we have completed the process. I think nothing. Oh yeah. So next process we have to, like, after inputting everything, after setting the transaction status, so next stage is we have to end the process. So we have to end the process. For that you can invoke close all application. So you can end the process. For that you can use close application. For that you just specify UI demo, close UI demo, and indicate on the screen, like, indicate this application you want to close. Sorry. Okay. Want to close this application, close UI demo. I think this is actually how we are closing the application, by using close application activity. Okay. So after like closing the application, so next is we want to kill the process. Actually kill the process, ensure that like whenever we are actually initializing the application in the init state, it ensures that whether all these processes are being closed, so that the automation can start in a clean state. That it is used. uh, so you can search this kill all process here, kill process, and you can provide a name here also, that is UI demo. That is the process name, UI demo. Okay, and you can give a name, kill process UI demo. All right, UI demo. So I think so I think we have done every process. So in just we can summarize what we have done, what up to this we have done everything again. So I can check whether everything I have typed is correct or not before running the application. So it's correct. Transaction status. Okay, it is correct. Okay, so just what we have done here. So in some why I am summarizing what we have done here. So initialization state, we are actually using the login credential. We are opening the UI demo application, and then we are checking whether the login is successful or not. After that, we are going to get transaction state where we are actually assigning each transaction item, and third, that is process state. We are actually using this transaction item that we have assigned from this data table, and then we are inputting into the required field. Okay, then we are actually checking whether this transaction is successful or not by inputting them into the Excel field again. Okay, so this is what we actually have done, and then after that we are going to close the process. So we can run it. Oh, that check. I think everything is correct. So just run it. It's working fine, I think. Yeah. Yeah. I think everything is working fine. It may take more time because around 107 data actually are being there. So it will take some time for that. Let's wait for some time. It take some time, I think. Take more than I think around 10 minutes I think it will take because a lot of translation data are there. So let's wait for some time. I think process has been completed successfully. Yeah, I think our process has been completed. For verification, we can check whether every transaction is occurred successfully or not. We can just go to the file. We can see here that transaction. You can see every transaction is actually successful. You can see no transaction is actually failed. So that is the advantage. That is the advantage of providing here a column of transaction status is that we can able to know whether the transaction has successfully occurred or not. Okay, that's why because simply it is actually inputting the data and simply it is actually inputting the data. We don't know whether the transaction is successfully occurred or not. Every transaction is successfully occurring or not. To check that, that is why I provided the transaction status column there, for checking whether the transaction has successfully occurred or not. Okay, so that is a use. So I think you have understood from this automation work tutorial, and I told you that what is the necessity of providing, let's say, this a condition to check whether a login is successful or not, and also a throwing exception. The reason is because, for example, it is very important to check whether login is successful because we know that we are providing credential data. Sometimes the credential data may not be correct. As a result of it, what happens? The login will not take place. Okay, and login will not take place. And if you are providing this condition, and for example, if we are providing incorrect credential, this condition will not exist, or this element exist activity will become false. As a result, what happens? You take a case. At that case, you are not providing this except no throw exception activity. You are just avoiding this. Okay, so that is when the login details are not correct, and means the login success is actually, or the boolean variable is false, so it will go to this section, and you are consider you are avoiding this throw exceptional activity. So what happens here is that you know that for an activity, or to go from initialization state to transaction state, there should be no system exception. So we know that since system exception means whenever there is a problem with the occurring system, since we are not throwing the exception, the workflow will not able to identify whether the system exception has occurred or not. So what it do, it will go to get transaction data, and then it will process the transaction. And when it becomes to process the transaction, it will came to know that because we know that when we are providing incorrect credentials, we know that we can't log into the required window where we want to input the data that is obtained from the transaction item. So there it understood that it has undergone system exception. So when in the process transaction, when a transaction undergo a system exception, what happens? It will again go to restart the system again and again. But we know that restarting the system again and again will not cause it to change it further, because since we have provided the incorrect data for it. Okay, so that is why it can't be able to process, like it can't be able to run the system, because the system will will not work effectively until the credentials are being changed. And another doubt that will be arise here is throw exception. What exception we are provided here? Business rule exception. Why we are providing business rule exception? The reason is that this is the data that is provided to the system to log in is incorrect. Since it is actually related with data, we are providing business rule exception. But how this error is being catch up? You can see that in RE framework, there is every activity is built using try and catch method. You can just view here. You can see that this is actually the try section. So whenever there is an exception, mostly system exception can handle all type of exception, whether it is a business exception or any other exception, you can handle. So at that time, so when this exception is thrown, what happened? Automatically this exception is catch up by this catch section of the try catch method, and you can see that the exception is found out and it will generally close the application instead of again retrying again it again and okay, because whenever we are not providing exception, what happened, system is again retried, but actually that is not used, because since until you don't change the credential, it has no use of retrying the system again and again. Okay, so that is one advantage of providing this throw condition or throw exception activity. Okay, I think by this we are completing our tutorial on UI demo using RE framework using data table method. Hope you understand, and if you have any doubts regarding this, you can just comment in the comment box. I can reach out to that. And if you like this video, please subscribe for more updates. Thank you.